Shoppers still fighting sticker shock at the checkout lanes may be overlooking one of the quietest retail stories of the last 5 years. Beneath the no-frills lighting and bare-bones shelving of a German-born discounter, a roster of private label. Staples is steadily upstaging marquee brands on taste panels, ingredient transparency, and, most startling of all, unit price. Grocery market analysts surveying nearly 2,000 households in 14 states found a recurring pattern. Carts thick with bright-colored boxes from prestige manufacturers keep inching toward the register at a steady clip, while carts anchored by the discounter's minimalist packaging often cross the scanner at 30 to 60% lower totals. How? Part of the answer is strategic vertical contracting. Think direct cheese co-ops in upstate New York, chocolate houses in Minden and Aachen, or Greek-style yogurt plants that triple strain on European equipment repurposed for U.S. fluid milk standards. Another part is absolute focus on essentials. Every category gets 1 or 2 SKUs instead of a whole rainbow, allowing the chain to polish a single formulation until blind testers can't recall which bowl came from a marquee box. Over time, those craftsmanship tweaks pile up into a calculus that makes even budget-conscious shoppers feel as though they're indulging. A consumer research lab in Dayton, Ohio, recently ran 120 families through a week-long kitchen trial. 71% of participants who swapped a national brand for the private label equivalent said they'd gladly keep the switch, especially after receiving the point-blank unit price math. Take the 12-month aged white cheddar positioned as entry-level fancy. Retailing around $4.60 a pound, it racks up legit tyrosine crystals, those tiny calcium lactate crunchies that cheesemongers praise as proof of slow proteolysis. Gas chromatography mass spectrometry scans at a Mid-Atlantic Food Science lab confirmed the classic aged cheddar volatiles, pronounced butyric acid, moderate methylbutanol, subtle notes of raw hazelnut. Panelists in a double-blind lineup ranked the discount block ahead of 2 $9 Vermont and $11 English rivals for depth, lingering nutty echo, and pleasant crumble without tooth squeak. Extrapolated over a year of lunchbox, cubes, casseroles, and weekend charcuterie boards, families reported lopping as much as $180 off their annual dairy outlay. Ketchup tells a similar story. Nationwide, the legacy leader's squeeze bottle sits in roughly 60% of U.S. fridges, according to IRI data. Yet ingredient watchers have long griped about high-fructose corn syrup and natural flavor placeholders. The discounter's organic entrant drops those in favor of cane sugar and shorter kettle temperatures, amplifying natural tomato pyrazines and carotenoids. When Northwestern University dietetics students ran a tasting for Little League parents, the most viscerally honest critics in suburbia, 6 out of 10 favored the private label for brighter finish and tomato forward, not syrup. Shelf price, roughly 40 cents an ounce under the benchmark brand, which means hot dog season savings that can bankroll an extra ball field concession or two. Breakfast cereal is where penny math becomes billboard scale. Cinnamon Toast Crunch's 12-ounce box averages $4.78. The discounter's Cinnamon Crunch Squares hover near $2.29 thanks to a stripped-down ingredient deck, oat flour base, plus a real cinnamon coating, fewer anti-caking agents, 15% less added sugar. Household modeling by an independent financial planning firm shows that families absorbing 21 boxes per year can redirect roughly $52 into other categories: extra produce, a streaming subscription, or enough high-octane coffee beans to offset. Those early school bus alarms. Chocolate, too, has drifted out of the splurge column. A 3.5-ounce milk chocolate tablet arriving from a Hanover area conching facility contains 30% cocoa solids, double the U.S. mainstream standard. Specialists note the extended 14-hour conch cycle, a step big brands compress to 4, yielding smaller particle size and a silkier melt. Blind tasters at a regional confectionery show scored it 4.6 on a 5-point smoothness index, ahead of an iconic Pennsylvania bar's 3.2, while costing half per ounce. Spicy cheddar devotees, a vocal niche, have latched onto an 8-ounce jalapeno-infused brick that runs $3.45 and lists no artificial capsaicin extracts. Heat comes solely from diced raw peppers tumbled into curds pre-press. Cheesemakers in Monroe, Wisconsin, handle the production, sneaking 9 months of aging before wax seal. Kitchen lab melt tests, 5 minutes under broiler, then a viscosity check, show even dispersion, no greasy break. Social media cook groups toot it for loaded nachos. Barbecue forums praise its balance against smoky brisket. At 35% below the per-pound price of a well-known Vermont spicy block, it is fueling repeat trips that, in aggregated loyalty card data, boost cross-sales for chips, tortillas, and pale ales. Protein seekers gravitate to the chain's triple-strained Greek-style yogurt, 17 grams per 3/4 cup, priced roughly $3.39 per 32-ounce tub. University of Iowa. Sports nutritionists tracked 25 varsity athletes, swapping their usual $6.29 competitor tub for the discount version across 6 weeks. Outcome, identical satiety curves and muscle recovery biomarkers, but a collective $72 windfall used on produce and, ironically, higher-grade Parmesan. Texture mapping via rotational rheometry logged near equal elastic modulus, the yogurt geek's holy grail for spoon-standing thickness. Clean label shoppers roam to the chain's organic banner, a line that includes quinoa, canned chickpeas, grass-fed milk, rolled oats, and nut butter variations. Price audits done in Columbus and Bakersfield placed the organic quinoa 28% under a national natural food retailer's house brand, rolled oats 22% under, canned beans 31% cheaper. Because the chain shuns intermediary brokers, mirroring the low-cost airline model, farm co-ops in Minnesota and Saskatchewan receive locked season contracts, reducing price swings. Fresh Bakery surprised even skeptical food critics. Butter. Croissants laminated in a contracted Chicago bake-off facility weigh about 18% more than a national cafe chain's flagship pastry, yet sell for 59 cents apiece. When warmed 5 minutes at 350 degrees, blindfolded tasters from a local French consulate soirée misidentified the chain product as mid-tier patisserie. The heavier weight stems from a 25-layer fold using 82% fat European-style butter. A premium competitor's ingredient spec shows 80%. Consumers craving a budget Parisian breakfast now snag 2 croissants and still ring up below a single downtown bakery treat. Beyond food aisles, a European-formulated skin care labeled discreetly sits between dental floss and deodorant. The anti-aging cream lists retinol, niacinamide, and hyaluronic acid at active ingredient weights nearly matching a $55 jug from a department store counter. A Cleveland dermatology practice conducted a 28-day split-face trial on 14s. Volunteers. High-resolution imaging found no clinically meaningful variance in hydration or fine line softening. Yet the shelf sticker under the budget jar reads $6.99. Word of mouth on TikTok and Reddit's Our Skincare Addiction triggered inventory outages, pushing the chain to triple truckloads to high-demand districts last quarter. Still, the single biggest shocker to pantry economics remains the 2-ingredient organic peanut butter, peanuts and sea salt. Nothing else. Household consumption data from the USDA put per capita peanut butter intake at roughly 3 pounds a year. Multi-kid. Households often blow through 15 jars. By stripping palm oil stabilizers and sugars, the private label matches natural big brands on purity, but beats them by as much as $1.70 per jar. For a 4-member family, that's a $70 annual dividend, enough for the occasional splurge on artisan jam, without deviating from a frugal blueprint. Peanut butter purists cite the telltale oil rise on top as proof of life. Stir once consistency returns to a velvety spread ideal for smoothies, energy bites, and even quick sauté sauce. Blind tests run at an Indianapolis community center pitted the discounter jar against two mainstream naturals. 18 of 25 tasters rated the private label spoonful freshest peanut punch, while 6 remained undecided, and 1 confessed brand loyalty to a cartoon mascot. Consumers who anchor weekly meal plans around these 10 pillars, cheddar, organic ketchup, cinnamon crunch cereal, Euro standard milk chocolate, jalapeno cheddar, triple strained yogurt, broad organic staples, bake-off pastries, the budget retinol jar, and 2-ingredient peanut butter, report savings that snowball. A North Carolina mother of 3 tracked receipts for 12 weeks. Total grocery outlay dropped $42 on average each week, or nearly $2,200 annualized. A Colorado bachelor who lived 4 days a week trimmed $18 off each protein-heavy shop while upgrading from 2% yogurt to full fat. A New Jersey retiree, funneling the ICA difference into a travel envelope, booked an off-season cruise. Market research firm Edge by Essential calculates that if just 20% of households adopted 3 of these swaps, aged cheddar, Greek yogurt, peanut butter, the collective national spend reallocated away from legacy CPG giants could tops $1.8 billion annually. Those numbers hint at why national labels are scrambling with loyalty programs, limited edition flavors, and shrinkflation gambits to clawback share. Yet shoppers in study after study indicate that once they physically taste parity or superiority, then glance at the till receipt, their allegiance flips almost overnight. One Louisville focus group participant summed it up. "I used to buy brand names so my kids wouldn't complain. Then I did the blind tests. They couldn't tell. The only one who could tell was my wallet." Supply chain academics warn that the model isn't limitless. Commodity spikes or logistics snarls can bite even the leanest operator. Still, the chain's discipline, pairing assortment, locking long contracts, skipping flashy advertising, gives it structural insulation. In groceries' margin-raiser environment, that can be the difference between passing on a 10-cent coffee bean hike or eating it. For now, the 10 items enumerated above form a roadmap for households bent on defying food price headlines without living on ramen. Whether it's the crystalline crunch of properly aged cheddar or the creamy churn of a peanut butter that refuses fillers, each swap chips away at the myth that value seekers must resign themselves to blandness, additives, or skimpy portions. And every cart that rolls across the parking lot packed with minimalist packages tells the same quiet story. Premium taste is alive and well. It just moved to a different price bracket.